Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Grub Review. Now today we have a little special. It's actually the first try. We're going to actually bake something, and we're going to bake beer bread. Now I got this from the same website I got the Twinkies. So it's basically like it says on the box. Just add beer and butter to the mix and put it in the oven, and it's supposed to come out looking like this. So it's, I think, more like a cake than actual bread. So yeah, I'm pretty curious how it will taste. As you can see, it's from Larry, the cable guy. So I guess this is a redneck thing, or at least that's how they try to portray it. Let's see what it says on the back. As you can see, there's a little post-it with some extra information. Hey, this recipe calls for a can of beer. Just be sure to use the beer and not drink it. Ha ha ha, redneck humor. Of course, you have to be 21 years old to drink. Just so they didn't make it a bit too edgy, because you can't have 18-year-olds going out and buying a can of beer. Whatever. Okay, preparations, instructions. Okay, so let's get all the stuff we need for this beer bread. Okay, so I prepared most of the stuff we'll need. Some baking sheets, I got 2 just to be sure. And then we get some butter. Now I know the recipe says it has to be the solid kind of butter, but I only got the liquid kind, so whatever, it should work. And then we have, of course, a can of beer. Now, I know you're supposed to use American beer, but I don't really have access to that here because I'm from Belgium. Well, I do have access to it in some shops, but I'm too lazy to actually put effort in getting one of those cans. So I just got your average Belgium Jupiler in a bottle. So I hope it will turn out well with the mix. We'll have to find out, won't we? So let's get started. Okay, now let's run over the steps again for preparation. Step 1. Preheat an oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, here in Europe we use Celsius. Now I did a little conversion, so it's about, give or take, 200 degrees Celsius. Now I'm already preheating the oven. I'm not sure, maybe you have heard it humming during the video. So yeah, that's the oven. That's not some weird humming thing in the distance. It's just the oven preheating. Now the second step is greasing up your loaf pan with some butter. Now, as I said before, I used the liquid butter because I don't have any solid one, but it should have the same result, or at least I hope. Make sure to smoothen the butter along all the edges so our bread doesn't stick to it when we take it out. There we go. That's one greasy motherfucker. Right then, on to the next step. So now we're going to make our actual batter. Let's see. It's like a nice bag of cocaine, but I don't think you want to sniff it up. Actually, the box says that ingesting raw batter is not recommended. Just to play on the safe side. Just pour this in. There we go. Try not to spill too much. Okay, what's next? Aha, the special ingredient. The beer. Now this is where the magic really happens. It does make a nice sizzling sound. Don't know if you can hear it well. I can't say the smell is appetizing though. Right, and now we start mixing it. It's actually forming a rather solid batter. You really have to get in there. This can be good. Right then, after that little fuck up, I decided it was a better idea to just use a spoon. Now, I just have to add one more little teeny thing. Get the fuck off there. Right. 3 tablespoons of butter. Now I suppose this is to add some extra moisture because the beer doesn't really add up to enough moisture. You can still feel the batter is way too salt, so I hope this improves it a bit. That's 1 spoon, that's 2 spoons, and that's the 3rd spoon. Ready. And now we start mixing again. It actually makes it a lot easier to stir. I really don't have anything interesting to say while I do this. I'm just mostly focusing on not spilling too much, because when I do this kind of stuff, I usually end up spilling stuff all over, and I don't feel like cleaning up the entire kitchen at midnight. The texture is actually forming up to be some kind of really doughy clay concoction, kind of like actual bread dough, so I'm hopeful. I seem to have spilled some. I'm not gonna put it in my mouth, because unlike pancake or cake butter, I don't imagine it's going to taste very nice. And I don't want to do it because it says so on that fucking box. Now, how long do I have to actually stir this? It doesn't say. That's real handy. Really, the instructions they give on the box are very basic and simple. So I guess this must be really easy to make and very hard to fuck up. So if I actually manage to fuck this up. Yeah. This ought to do. Right, now let's pour it in the container. Actually hope it's big enough. We don't want a bread explosion on our hands, now do we? Trying to scrape off as much as I can. I really need some coffee. I'm getting tired as fuck. There we go. Shape it up a bit. Just look at that fucker sizzling about in the oven. Isn't that just the most beautiful thing you ever saw? Holy shit, guys, it's growing. And it smells kinda nice, to be honest.
A few moments later.
Right then, our bread or beer bread is done, and okay, it got a bit burned here and there, but overall I think it worked out pretty good. Now you may notice it looks a lot more like a cake than an actual loaf of bread, and you would be right to assume so. I'll give you guys a little close-up. As you can see, it's a bit burned, but nothing we can't handle. And then I'll try to cut a slice. It's actually, the outer layer is pretty crusty. Okay, there we go. I've got a lot of crust in this one because it was the outer part, the edge, as you might say. But still, let's give it a little try. It's not bad. It's the texture is almost the same as a cake. I'm happy it's not too dry. Usually a cake is a bit too dry for me, but this is actually pretty nice. The insides are pretty moist. The taste, well, it's not sweet at all because there's no sugar in it. It's not like it actually really tastes like beer, but it does have a hint of beer, and it has a bit of a bitter aftertaste. Not a bad kind of bitter, but like beer actually. It has a hint of bitterness from the beer. It's pretty nice actually. If you want a cake that's not too sweet, then you should probably go with this. I think you can eat this with a regular meal instead of bread. It's not a dessert, not at all. Like I said, it's not sweet at all. It's like a cake, but not sweet. So a bread cake. It's basically a bread cake. If you're bored with eating bread, you should try this. I don't know how well it would work with toppings. Maybe some butter would work, but or some good cheese, like the kind of cheese you would eat with beer. I know here in Belgium you have some great cheese you can eat with beer. So it would work with this kind of cake. I don't think it would work well with any sort of meat or fish. So you're better off sticking with the butter or a good cheese. I don't know what else to say about this. I think it's a success, despite being burned a little. It worked out pretty darn well. As you can see, it has a nice consistency. All in all, if you want, you should definitely try this if you're interested in baking and tasting beer bread. It's certainly something different, not bad at all. So yeah, this was the second episode of the Grub review. I hope you enjoyed this little thing I threw together. Probably will do more in the future, maybe more elaborate, maybe not. I'm just going with the flow on this one. So yeah, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, just I hope you enjoyed the video, and send money. I like money. See you later, guys.